So what we're going to be working on today is going to be the Simplicity 1118. Did I say that right? 1118 pattern, and I'm going to work on this view C, which is this little top with the shorts, and the shorts will be in a separate video. I just feel like that there's a lot of work to be done to the top, and I don't want to drag this video out. The dress, there are some slight differences. What I really hated about these pattern pieces was that you have to cut off part of the dress to make the blouse, and I really feel like if they're going to have that, there should be separate pieces for the dress. But if you want to make the dress, you can save those pieces, and pretty much the way I will assemble the top part of the top will be the same for assembling the dress, with the exception that, you know, you'll make a hem at the bottom of the dress pattern. So if you want to know how to make the dress and do that, those little lining pieces and all that, just follow along with this video. Just don't cut off the bottom part of the dress for the pattern piece. So the first thing that you need to do is cut out all of your pieces, and I'm going to kind of go over, I may let this video run a little longer than I've been doing lately, just because I want to explain some things to you guys that you may find helpful in this video and future videos. The first thing you want to do when you buy a manufactured pattern is get the instructions out. Do not just randomly start cutting pieces because you think they go. And you can't just go by this guide. You need to... You have a guide here on the pattern. It tells you what view it is, like a dress, and it'll tell you how to cut them out. You want to get your instructions out, and you want to look and see, and there are so many pieces to this little top and shorts that I am not going to go over each piece. I'm just going to tell you, look at your pattern, cut out all the pieces you need, and what you're basically going to need is you're going to have a piece for the front of the top, 2 pieces for the back of the top, which is the same one pattern piece. You're just going to, instead of cutting it on a fold, you're going to cut 2 pieces. You're going to have 2 pieces for the back facing, or the back, yeah, you know, it's to keep these edges neat. What you do is you basically are putting a facing in that will be turned, and then everything looks nice and neat so that you don't have to try to fold a little tiny hem and sew it up. So you're going to have those pieces. Then you're going to have a piece for the front ruffle, and a piece, I believe the back piece has 2 ruffles. I was a little confused by that myself. And what I'm going to be using is, I really love this combo. My fabrics are inside out, and I'll tell you, most of the time when I'm cutting a pattern out, I will use the wrong side. I'll cut it from the wrong side of the fabric. Just, I don't know, it's just I prefer it. So it doesn't really matter. Anyway, I chose this like bright sunshine yellow chevron, yellow and white chevron, and then for the ruffles of the top, and also I think I did that for the trim of the shorts, I'm using this piece from My Fabric Designs, which I thought matched beautifully with this chevron because it has these orange flowers in it, and this is just gorgeous fabric. I will put a link in the description box of this video if you want to purchase this fabric. It's absolutely beautiful. I love it. I love the print. It's so bright and happy. Okay, so now according to the pattern instructions, we need to get these ruffles ready, and it's going to be a double ruffle in the back and the front. Here is what Renee gonna do. I'm going to sew a zigzag stitch around the bottom edge of all of these ruffle pieces. And there's a small ruffle piece and a large ruffle piece. And the small piece is going to go over the large piece like this to create 2 ruffles. So what I'm going to do is, I don't want to do that hem. It's annoying. And I think that a tight zigzag stitch would be very cute around the bottom edge, so that's what I'm going to do. If you want to try to make the hem, you go for it. But I'm also trying to teach you guys shorter steps that you can take if you're a newbie and you don't want to do these annoying things. Nothing wrong with the way this looks either, by the way. I did it with Twisty's clothes when she was little, and I would do it with my granddaughters. And I think that tight zigzag stitch around the edge is really cute. I don't think it would come out the same with a serger stitch around the bottom, but a tight zigzag gives it a decorative look. So I'm going to do that with all 4 bottom edges of the hems. Okay, so now you see I have these tight zigzag stitches on the bottom of these ruffles. And it really does neaten it up, and it makes it a lot easier than trying to do a really small, tight hem. Okay, so I found this really cute antique trim that I have a ton of that I got at Goodwill, I don't know how long ago. And I'm just gonna, since I have so much of it, I'm gonna go ahead and trim the bottom of all 4 pieces of the ruffles that I have. Guys and gals and persons and peeps and buddies and pals. This is what I have for my ruffles. And you see, you might have noticed if you were looking at the speed up that I actually connected the top part with the tight zigzag stitch, because I mean it's just going to be layers and layers of stitching over stitching anyway if I don't. But it doesn't matter. You can connect it using just a regular flat stitch on top, or you can do it this way, and it's kind of like serging it so that, you know, the ends won't fray up when it's washed. Anyway, we can put these aside, and we're gonna kind of talk this out, or I'm gonna talk it out because you guys can't talk to me about it. I'm just looking at this, and I had not really, to be honest, had not really studied the pattern a whole lot before I started it, and I'm not liking these pieces here for the lining because they're not going to take care of this. And the armholes are so hard to, I don't know what that tape is. I've never used it. I know it's something my mom would have used in making our clothes, and she's really good at what she does. She's a perfectionist. I'm not. I'm the quick and easy, let's not do this, make it any more difficult than it needs to be type of person. As long as it looks neat, stays neat, and you know. So while I'm pressing this, I'm going to talk to you about it. What I think would be the best way to do it, and I've seen it with the older pattern that I have that has a bodice like this, or a little dress, almost exactly the same as the little dress on this pattern. And it was a pattern from the 70s that my adopted mom had gave me, that she used to make some dresses for me when I was little, and I made for Twisty when she was little. And what it was is, get to the point, Renee, right? Okay, if you're skipping through this video, screw you, I'm not going to explain it to you again. But what I'm thinking of doing is taking out these pattern pieces for the front and the back, and I'm actually going to make a bodice piece that covers the entire armholes and the neck. Okay, so you guys can see this is the back bodice piece. What I'm going to do is up to about 1.5 to 2 inches from the bottom of the armhole here, I'm gonna fold this so that I'm not going to cut it. I don't want to do that. You definitely don't want to do any cutting. But you just want to fold it up to where you've kind of got your own neat little pattern piece. And since this is the back, it's going to be 2 pieces, and I'm going to lay it on the fabric. So I'm going to lay it on the fold, but it is the back centerpiece is going to be 2 pieces, but to save fabric, I'm going to lay it on the fold, and then I'm going to cut that fold open, because you're going to need this in 2 pieces. So you see, I'm creating a lining that will cover the neck and the armholes. And now with it still folded, I'm just going to slip my scissors in between the 2 layers of fabric, and I'm going to cut that fold because we don't want it to be 1 piece. We want the back part to be 2 pieces. So now I'm going to lay this aside, and we're going to do the same thing with the front piece. And the front piece will be one whole piece cut on the fold. So there you go. You see, that is the lining for the front of the bodice, and these are the two pieces for the back. And since I'm doing it this way, I don't need interfacing as the pattern calls for when you do it just around the neckline. And I don't like to use interfacing like that anyway in child's clothing, because I feel like it makes it more stiff and it rubs up against the skin more. So I avoid putting interfacing in necklines or waistlines every chance I get, especially with children's clothing. So I've got those two pieces, and now I'm going to show you how to put the bodice together so that everything comes together smoothly. So now what I want to do is get these ruffles ready, and I don't think I'm going to do a machine ruffle. I'm going to do it by hand. One reason is I don't have a ruffle foot for this Janome. So I've got a piece of thread here, and it doesn't matter what color, because you're just going to pull this thread right back out anyway. But I'm going to knot it up so that it doesn't go through. And this is some I had, I was sewing something else, so it's like 4 layers of thread, but that's fine. It make it easier to get it out of there. Actually, once I'm done with this step, these friggin' nails, I can't grab a hold of anything. I just wanted my hands to look pretty in my videos, and ugh, what a mess. Okay, so I've pinned the ruffle to the bodice, and I want to leave it pinned there. And what I'm going to do is start feeding this needle through, just through the ruffle, not through the bodice piece. And I just maybe going 3/4 of an inch apart with each pass. So now that we've got the thread passed all the way through, now we just need to make the ruffle fit the bodice. If you've decided you like where your ruffles are, then you just go ahead and stitch. Alright, so there you have it. There's our front ruffle. I know it looks kind of wonky, but it's just because of that arched shape. Okay, so yeah, I went back and made sure that I was not skipping something or doing something wrong. But because of the way I'm going to have you guys put your bodice together, if you're following along with me, you're going to have to wait until you put these parts together to add your ruffle to the back, and that's fine. It's not going to hurt a thing to do it that way. So now what we need to do is with the bodice pieces, the lining and the outside pieces, we need to attach everything at the shoulders. That would be, you would go into the bodice piece and you would attach the shoulders. You're going to stitch the shoulders right here, and that's the lining. And then you would take the outside, and these are the two back pieces for the outside, and this is the front. And what you do is you'll connect at the shoulders right here, just the seam on each shoulder, and then I will show you the next step. Okay, so now you see I sewed the lining of the bodice and pressed the seams down flat, and the outside of the bodice, sewed all 3 of those pieces together and did the same thing, pressed the seams down flat. Okay, So now what we want to do is, so you can see this is the right side of the outside of the bodice, and some of it's hanging off the table, but that's all the room I've got, y'all. But what we want to do is right sides facing together. We want to take the outside and the lining, and we want to lay them together and line everything up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sew all the way around the armholes. I'm not going to sew down the sides here. I'm going to sew all the way around the armholes and all the way around the neck, from the back to the front, all the way around. And then that will allow us to turn it. If you sew everything closed, you're not going to be able to turn this the way you should be able to. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to show you guys how to turn. I think at this point too, you can sew down just a little bit of this corner here. You don't want to go all the way down this side. I just don't feel like it's going to come together right if you do. Just enough so that it's a nice neat corner for you to put a button or a snap or something like that to close the back. Okay, so now that we've sewn around the armholes and around the neck, we need to just do a little trimming and clipping to make sure that everything turns and looks nice and pretty when it's turned. So I'm going to clip around the most circular parts of the armhole. You don't need to clip the whole thing, you just need to make a few clips in the rounded edges. And then at these corners of the neckline right here, what you want to do on each one is clip to that corner. Don't clip the thread, your seam, but clip the corner. And that just helps it to turn neatly too, and there won't be a pucker. We want to start to turn everything. So basically what you're doing is you're turning the back side out. So that's the one you're going to push through. You don't have to like try to push the outside or the front part into these back parts, because they'll just turn if you just push those through. I should have shown you, but the camera, I thought it was on, but it was off, so you guys will survive. So now I'm gonna flatten everything out, straighten it up, and I'm gonna press it really good. So now I have everything pressed, and what I want to do is, before I add that ruffle, I'm gonna first of all connect the back pieces. It looks kind of funny, but I hope it works. And what I'm going to do is open up these flaps that are the inside lining, and I'm going to sew all the way down that just to connect the two halves of the back piece. Can you tell what I'm doing here, guys? I'm sorry. Because I changed the pattern a little bit, and this is the first time I'm making this one, I'm kind of doing this as I go along and figuring out that I've got to do certain things, and this is going to be an extremely long video. Then you just really want to kind of try to connect the lining pieces too, and you do that by turning them right sides facing together. And this is the 2 lining pieces on the back, by the way. And then just sew them up as far as you can get them. And then I would highly recommend pressing both of them open, the lining and the outside piece, so that they kind of lay flat. So there's that. You got the lining piece and the outside. And now I'm going to do a speed up of me attaching the ruffle. And then I'm going to sew the sides of each, the back and the front together on the sides. And then the outfit will be complete except for a snap. I'm not going to add that in this video because this video I know is going to run really long. But all you have to do is you can add one of those hook snap, the little hooks. Or you can add a snap, or you can put, you know, at this point you could just have knots sewn there and put in a piece of elastic and then a button. It's just up to you how you want to do that. But like I said, I'm not doing that in this video because that's a really simple step that we don't need to do. Alright, there it is, wrong side out, and y'all can see I completed my edges with a tight zigzag stitch. I'm going to turn it right side out and see how it looks. Needs a little pressing, but I'm not real crazy about this pattern. I gotta be honest with y'all. I don't like the way it's put together. I don't like the way the finished product really looks because it's not, I think the ruffle was too small. You know, it's just too short. It should have been a little rufflier, in my opinion. I love y'all, but damn, y'all gave me a challenge this time. And the point of where the sides are kind of made to pointed like that, they give it a funny shape and it doesn't hang well. So I don't like I do love the fabric, and I hate that I wasted my fabric from my fabric designs on this one because I mean it's such pretty fabric, but it doesn't hang right. I don't understand what it is about this particular top that I just don't like. But anyway, the shorts pattern will come later. It won't be up at the same time that this will. So if you're watching this the day it was released, then it's, you know, you're going to have to wait a couple days for the shorts pattern. My recommendation though, if you're a newbie, stay away from that and just do the dress. And you can do the bodice of the dress or the top of the dress the same way I did the top, with the making your own lining so that you don't have to worry about the armholes and everything. And that does look so much neater to me. I like the way that looks. And I would always do it that way if you have a pattern that you're sewing that has that kind of armhole and the, you know, the bodice and everything. As long as the bodice is 3 pieces, you can do it. You can't do it if the bodice is the same as if the back is the same as the front and it's one whole piece, you're not going to be able to sew that and turn it. You could always split the piece if it's a pattern that has just 2 pieces, for the one for the back and one for the front. You could always split the back, just remembering to add a little bit of a seam allowance and a little bit of allowance so it'll overlap a little bit to put a button or a snap on. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this little tutorial. And I mean, y'all challenged me this time. I am so exhausted. I'm about to go have some lunch. It took me 3.5 hours to film this. You guys will probably see it in just a matter of maybe 20 minutes to a half an hour. But whew, what a project. Challenging even for me. So anyway, that's it, guys. Peace, y'all. Bye-bye.